Hey everyone, Solinus Dracone here. So, net neutrality has been repealed by the FCC, and I'm sure there's quite a bit of panic going on over it. As I said in my previous video, the ruling of the FCC isn't necessarily the end of the matter, and I don't expect it to be. Here today, I'm going to talk about what happens next, what protects us, the consumers, from the worst case scenarios that people imagine, such as slowing of internet traffic to competitor websites or apportioning of content based upon internet package payments and so on. And yes, I am reading from a script here. It's a script that I have written. It helps me organize my thoughts better. I've even added the bit about the script into the script, so don't rag on me over it. There are three main ways in which the dreaded potential outcomes can be avoided, or at the very least stopped if they start: the courts, the lawmakers, and market pressure. So let's start off with market pressure. Very simply put, if one internet company decides to start engaging in nefarious behavior and one of their competitors doesn't, then the customer base, that's people like you and me, will decide to take our business elsewhere, to someone who doesn't do that. The only way for this not to work out is if all the companies decide as one to follow the same practices. We saw something like this back in 2011. I actually worked for Verizon Wireless as tech support back then. AT&T had already made the switch to limited internet pricing. Verizon Wireless did not do that immediately, because obviously this was a move which made AT&T unpopular. At that point, the only edge AT&T had upon Verizon was that AT&T had the iPhone. Verizon Wireless could still market itself as better than the competition by claiming they had unlimited data. This, for the average consumer, was the biggest and most obvious factor to influence the decision which cell phone provider they'd go with. When Verizon Wireless got the iPhone, I knew the moment it happened that they'd soon be ending unlimited data, and I was right. Within the year, they put freaking 1 gigabyte for $30 or something crap like that. And now with AT&T no longer having the edge on VZW regarding the iPhone, Big Red switched like within the year. It's only very recently that we're seeing unlimited internet plans making a return to the fold in cell phones, and that's because T-Mobile and Sprint are being the main driving force that they're offering these unlimited data plans to their customers. So you're seeing Verizon Wireless and AT&T losing some business to them, and what do you know, now they're starting to bring out their unlimited internet plans again. So what protects us if the big providers decide to all start doing the exact same thing? Mainly if another provider comes in and doesn't do that. What's tricky there is that the physical infrastructure are often controlled by the companies in question. If you have your internet service through cable, then you're paying whichever cable company is biggest in your area. If you have your internet service through the telephone lines or through fiber, then you are paying whoever owns the fiber optic cables in your area. You don't have any other options but the big companies in your area, because they control the very wires through which your internet traffic flows. So with that going on, where could our salvation possibly be? My money's on Elon Musk's SpaceX internet plan. Basically, starting in 2019, Musk plans to begin launching low-orbit satellites to provide internet to the entire globe through that medium. It all looks very promising. Satellites would orbit low enough that latency would no longer be an issue. They could support gigabit speeds, and there would be literally no place on Earth that they could not provide service. Also, Musk doesn't seem the sort to buy into extorting his customers. Still, time will tell on that, but that's how the market pressures kind of work. That's how the market pressures apply to us, the internet consumers. Let's move on to the lawmakers and how they could save us. I said in my last video that Congress had no say whatsoever in the decision that was being made. This was true at the time because the decision was being made by a federal agency who operates within laws that Congress has already set as being that agency's jurisdiction to oversee. The only way the legislative branch of our government could help us right now is by passing laws that give us net neutrality. Now, I am not saying that's impossible, but it's highly unlikely at this point in time. Currently, the US government is pretty much run by Republicans. The entire MO of the Republican Party is to look out for corporate interests. This is not even a debate. The Republican Party in the United States government, as their sole non-debatable distinction, is that they do not want the federal government to regulate business. Period. It does not fall in with the Republican Party's credo to pass a law that says that all individual companies may not do this or that. So I wouldn't expect a government where the House, the Senate, and the office of the President are all occupied by the anti-regulation party to pass regulations. How can you affect this? Go out and vote in 2018. That's the next time that seats within the House and Senate are up for grabs. Midterm elections are way more important than people comprehend. If you are eligible to vote in the United States, then voting Democrat is the best chance you possibly have to get far-reaching federal regulations passed. I'm not going to get on a pedestal about which party is best or isn't best and all that, but the actual dividing line between the two parties, at least as stated by their own agendas, is that Democrats are in favor of far-reaching nationwide regulation and Republicans are against it. I am not being partisan here, folks. That is just the basic, honest facts. It doesn't matter what your feelings are regarding political corruption. It doesn't matter who is in whose pocket. If one party controls the House and Senate, then that party's basic agenda is going to have greater support. Bottom line. Oh, and if you want to try to talk to your own reps and senators, feel free to. Hell, I encourage you to do so. Just remember that your representatives in Congress listen to the people who voted them in and will continue to do so. Talking to them only works if they are in danger of not getting voted back into their position, and the only way you can do that is to vote against them. Not voting at all is not going to help anyone. I cannot stress this enough. It is just a fact. If you want to affect real, actual change within the U.S. government, you go out and vote against the people who don't represent your interests. I don't care. Shut up about everything else. If you are eligible to vote in the United States and you don't go out and vote, your opinion is invalid. I don't want to hear from you. You're wrong and you're scum, so shut the fuck up. That leaves us with the third option, the judicial system. The judicial system technically can reverse the decision of a federal agency or of Congress, but that's bloody unlikely to happen. What the courts can do is rule upon individual behaviors. If a company is exercising unfair practices, such as reducing bandwidth to specific websites or outright blocking the access, then this is something that can be challenged in court easily. The owners of the affected websites, or even interest groups composed of people who are wronged thusly by the internet providers, can bring their cases to federal court, and through the usual process of appeals and so on, that practice can be outlawed as being against the First Amendment. As for the other worries, like internet packages which favor or improve access to various forms of websites, sorry, I don't see anything getting through the courts regarding that. It's only if information becomes unfairly unavailable that the courts are likely to be able to step in and tell the internet companies to stop. Again, sorry, listen to what I said about the market pressure on that regard. So there you have it, that's my take on the matter. If your internet company starts to practice behavior you find unbecoming, your options are to take your business elsewhere, write your local and state reps, vote out the people you see as not representing your interests, or add your voice to any groups which happen to be taking their cases to court. Or all of them. Do what you can, do all that you can, do combinations of whatever you can. The ball is in your court now. Thank you, and have a good day.